and he's a very much sought after speaker in many events. So he's going to talk to us about this uh, book. It's based on the book The Brain That Changes Itself. Seeing, and the title is Seeing and Shaping Your Mind at Any Age. So I don't want to take much of his time. Please help me welcome Mr. Jun Malacaman. Hi, Jun.
Oh, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. So, good evening, everyone, including those in the States. Good morning, because from where you are like what? 5 o'clock in the morning? Okay, somebody? Yep. Let me just clear a few things here. Okay. This is about neuroplasticity. And I titled it Seeing and Shaping Your Mind. And there's a reason why. It has to be at any age. So let me proceed. If my mouse is working. So I'm not here to tell anybody what to do. I'm just here to tell you a story of the brain that changes itself. So what is the story? Something like 50 or 60 years ago, they found out something about the brain that people at the time didn't really know. And that is that the brain can change itself. Is my keyboard working? Okay. This final discovery. Wait, let me get my bearings here. The common conclusion by the greatest scientific minds of those days was what? The brain stops growing and learning by the time one reaches the age of puberty. Beyond that, what is expected of people? That they cannot learn anymore. And that's the reason why there's a saying about you can't teach old dogs new tricks. Today, that is probably not true anymore, right? Especially when everybody is good at learning something new, especially old dogs and more. Okay, let's go back to the brain. That's what a normal brain is supposed to look like. But in reality, if you get inside to the brain, this is what you see. It's a whole lot of mess. It's really a network of networks. Right? What they did is they looked at the brain in terms of the pathways of nerves, as you can see here. So this is an example of a brain, and it has a lot of pathways as far as the nerves are concerned. Why is that important? That's important because the human brain uses and relies on these nerve pathways to create knowledge. So you have knowledge to create memories in so that you'll be able to move. In other words, the physical capabilities is a function of the human brain. And the reason that the brain is able to control all of these physical activities, plus store memories and create knowledge is because of these nerve pathways. Where is my there? What the human brain knows, remember, and can do with the human body determines your character, behavior, and capabilities. In other words, you are what you are not because of what you are. Your behavior is not because of your behavior. And you're good at playing basketball, playing tennis, speaking in public, is because of your brain. In other words, in other words, in other words, you are what your brain is. Is that a revelation? Let's see. Santiago Ramon y Cajal won the Nobel Prize in 1906 simply because he was able to determine that the brain is compartmentalized and there are a lot of neurons and cells there that run and dictate the human body in a special way. Eventually, they didn't call it neuroplasticity then. It was just neuroscience as far as these people were concerned. Now, it has become neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the ability of the human brain to create new nerve pathways, not stopping, not receding, not because he has become a super person, but this is an ability that he has throughout his life. The only problem is this: after a while, we take things for granted, and then we stop sort of learning. This allows the brain to learn new skills. What does allow the brain? The fact that the brain is malleable, the fact that the brain is shapeable, the fact that the brain is plastic in nature. Because of this, it can cope with specific challenges or adapt to physical changes. Again, when you react, it's really your brain. Now you might say, no, that's me. When you raise your hand, is that your hand? It is really your brain. When I speak now, am I really speaking? It's really my brain. It is my brain, and we will show you later on why it is the brain. You're familiar with Sigmund Freud. He's probably the most popular, psychoanalyst in the world. During his time, they didn't talk about neuroscience. During his time, they didn't really delve into the depths of neuroplasticity. But he already had an inkling of this. At that time, he said, there is a powerful force with us, in us, an illuminated part of the mind, separate from the conscious mind, that is constantly at work, molding our thoughts, feelings, and actions. This is a cell, and it is doubling. They call that the growth of the cell, mitosis. Right? When I say nerve cells, by the way, I will not be talking about technical terms here, except on this page and this page alone. Just so we understand what I mean by nerve pathways. Right? The nerve cells are called neurons, right? And they are what we call electrically excitable cells. Why are they electrically excitable cells? I will show you later on. They compose or consist of the nervous system that process and transmit information. So think about this. When you receive a signal in your eyes, what happens? That is formed and is shaped by the eye. And then the signal is sent to the brain. What does the brain do with that signal? It fires in, depending on the nearby cell. They create memory. They create knowledge. Okay? So this is an example of one cell, right? Forget the names there. Just look at the cell in terms of, this looks like the head of the cells. And they have tentacles there. They're called dendrites. These are like the tails, see, of the cell. And they are called axon ends. There is importance in knowing this because these are the elements of that cell that binds with another cell that creates this knowledge, see, this memory, and this ability to go into action. And this is something that we want you to see so that you can now shape your brain so that it creates. You know what it creates? So that it creates the past, the present, and the future. Okay. This is a more microscopic view of what I just showed you earlier. Right? This is an example of one cell of the brain. And this cell is powered by 20 to 25 watts of electricity. And it fires. When it fires, it connects with a nearby cell or a nearby neuron. When I say it fires, it does not just connect with one, it connects with several. By the way, when we talk about cells, the whole body is composed of cells. You have blood cells, skin cells, see, bone cells, and brain cells. The brain has, guess, how many million cells? The brain has, guess, how many billion cells? By the time you're grown up, you have quadrillion of cells in your body already. And most of that are acting or activated in creating all of these memories. See? So these now cells, when they fire, they connect with each other and they form the ideas and the thoughts in us. This is how they connect to one another. But this is like John and Mary. That's one cell, and this is another cell. And when they fire those electrical voltage, right, they connect. This end point connects to that. And when that connects, there's probably a few million others that connects with them. Here, 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 right? Until they form a thought. They form knowledge. The mere fact that you're watching me now, the mere fact that you're seeing this now, you already have created new knowledge. Okay. Everything that you do, everything that we know is because of the sensors we have in our body, which creates all of these nerve networks. When the nerve networks are created in the brain, they connect, see, with all the other nerve networks throughout your body. See? And there may be 1 or 2 or 1 million or 2 million or 1 trillion that connects continuously from your head down to the bottom of your feet. See? In other words, everything that you do is controlled by that brain now. Why is it important that we know that? Later on, I will show you why. For now, this activity creates your habits, right? And the functioning of that brain determines what you're going to do now, how you are reacting to my talk, what you're thinking in terms of what you'll do after, right? Okay. The brain readily shapes itself to respond to what? To the world, what you see around you. They develop neuropsychological structures. What is a neuropsychological structure? Using your neurons, using your brain cells, they form themselves. See, they create. There's a saying, neurons that fire together, wire together. They form a structure. See, and if the structure that is created is so that you can lift a finger, now there is that structure in your body. When that structure is destroyed, what happens? That's when you cannot flip that finger anymore. So, in addition to that, the brain forms the pictures or representations of the world as we see it. Think, if the brain creates the pictures or representations of the world as you see it, how did it form that picture? There must be what we call sensors, right? The eye, to us, is a main sensor. What else? The smell is a sensor. See, the taste is a sensor. The touch is a sensor. Because of these inputs from these sensors, okay, this become what we call the neuronal basis for all our perceptual habits, or what we do and eventually do regularly every day after a while, right? In beliefs. What you believe now is because they were formed, they were shaped as you were growing up. In the office, what you are now in the office is formed because of your exposure to the office. Maybe you know that already. But the question is how? And is that something that you can control now? And is that something that you can seize, SEIZE, so that you can mold it, so that you can shape it, so that if you don't like it, you can do something about it? Most of us, we go by what we call positive thinking. The problem is this. When you say positive thinking, so what do you do? Well, I'll think about it and be positive about it. What else can you do? Well, maybe if I want something, I'll come up with a picture. Okay, what else will you do? Maybe I'll post the picture and look at it 10 times a day. But you don't know why. See? Here, when you want to do something now, you know exactly why, and then you know exactly how. Look at this. It says, including our complex ideologies. See? That's very difficult to catch, see, in terms of the mind and thinking. Even to say my belief, my ideology is older and that's within my reach. The answer is yes. Like all plastic phenomena, plastic means malleable. These structures get reinforced early in our life. And if we continue to repeat that, it becomes self-sustaining. Right? Okay. This is one of the findings in that book. There are several examples there. I'll just show you a few because you probably won't have time to go to the whole thing. This is an experiment using a tongue sensor. So you say, how can that be? See? Based on the sensors in the tongue, this guy can get that ball and shoot it there, right? Without using his eyes. What is he using? That's a camera out there. And that camera is wired here at the back, and it goes to his back. And at his back, there's a contraption, see, that sends certain signals and modifies that and sends it back to his brain. So that was a ball that he had practiced to hook into that garbage can. And did he get it? Let's see. Did he get it? Can you give that guy a big hand? After several tries, he did get it. Because I saw that movie, I just cut this out. Now, why would it take that person several tries to do it? And the reason is because Roger Mbem, 54 years old, is blind. And he has been blind for 38 years. So the learning point is this, or the learning topic here is, how could that person see when he is totally blind? And the answer is because of that camera in his head. But so if you have a camera, how can that make that person see? These are the progress that they have achieved in terms of shaping and helping people work out problems with their brain. So you might say, but I'm not blind. I don't need that. Yes. See, if you're blind, you will need this. But what we're saying is, for those of us who do not have this high level of encumbrance, see, maybe we don't really need all of these gadgets. And we will show you how later on, right? This is, again, that person, and you can see that camera. And the reason I'm showing this to you is, look at this on the right side. One of the things that they're doing in this experiment is let Roger here go through this path. See? And eventually go to some places here where they recognize, being blind, they recognize shapes, they recognize, utensils and all that. Eventually, they can recognize the items, right? Okay. This is an example of what they're wearing. It's a bionic retinal implant, a camera mounted in front of the eye, sends its video feed to an electrode array at the back of the eye, right? In short, there's a camera here. The image is picked up. It sends down here to some computer process, and then it is sent back to this implant here, and it is transmitted to the brain. That's good. See? That's unbelievable. But they're doing that now. Right? This is another example, and I'll just show you two examples here. The first one is a person who is blind. This guy is not blind. The reason he's doing that is because his problem is he cannot stand alone. If he stands alone, he will fall. See? It looks like he's always dizzy or something. So these people go through life like that. See? It's a torment as far as they're concerned. This device, see, allows them, by picking up those signals, to get used to just standing still and controlling their brain. So you say, well, that will help, but eventually he has to move and he has to go somewhere else. The answer is yes. See? But the experiment here is after a while that he has trained himself, see, to control his brain because of these signals. He can drop this already, right? And then he can go on living a normal life. In other words, they are able now, by conditioning their mind through these tools, to really put you back to your old state. So this approach is done by changing the input channels. The plasticity of the brain enables new forms of input. In this example, the brain can learn to interpret input from a retinal implant using the tactility of the tongue. Okay. I'll give you a simple exercise. Just so you know the importance of knowing that there is really not just one way that we see things. See? If you are with someone, first you close your eyes. See? And then if you're with someone else, just hold on to that next person beside you. If you're not with somebody else, with your eyes closed, just hold on to whatever is in your desk or whatever is near you. And then once you hold on to something, do you know what you're holding even when your eyes are closed? Obviously, you will say, yes, I'm holding the arm of the person beside me, or I'm holding a pen, or I'm holding a table, or I'm holding a microphone, or I'm holding a cell phone, but your eyes were closed. So what did you use to see what you were holding. You use your sense of touch. Now, next thing, when you go to a restaurant or when you're in kitchen, close your eyes. Not now. I mean, you know this already. But what I'm saying is, even when your eyes is closed, do you know what's being cooked because you smelled it? The answer is yes. So that's another channel. So you see, you will know things not just by seeing them, but also by being able to use your hands. The people doing Braille, for example, they have very good hands. And remember, when you are talking to a blind person, and the blind person says, I want to see you, that person will touch your face, but he will not touch it and scramble and put his two hands all over your face and trace your nose and trace your eyes. No, he will just get his hand and put it lightly on your face. See, and he will say, "Yeah, I know you already." See, so that goes for smell. You know something that goes for your taste as well. See. What about hearing? The same thing. See? You listen to music and you know what is being played. That's a piano, that's a guitar, that's a cello, that's a violin, etc. A car passes by. You even know whose car that is. See? So the question now is, if we see this now, that there are many ways that we can input things in this world, and we know that we are only using a small portion of our skills, your sense of perception. Whenever we want to learn more, whenever we want to understand more, we should be able to use all of these resources together. Right? Okay. The brain uses adaptive coding, altering the amount of resources assigned to a function depending on how important it is. If you rely fully on your eyesight, see, somehow the ears, the touch, the smell, and the taste, they don't perform well. Eventually, they not really die, they deteriorate and they're not as good anymore. Why is it that the animals in the jungle maintain their sense of hearing, their sense of smell, their sense of taste? Because they are always alert. All of the senses are wide alert. What about us? Humans, before thousands and hundreds of years ago, during the time of the caveman, right? We were predators and we were also prey. See? We are hunters and we are also being hunted. During that time, the people had all their senses. Today, not anymore. See? So, why is this important now that we see this? When you realize that somehow, I'm losing my sense of hearing, don't say or don't think it is due to old age. Just say, maybe I'm not using it enough. See? So what do? When you listen to your earphone, bring it down, bring it down, bring it down until you can almost not hear it. And that's how you start shaping and getting back. When you do that, the neurons fire together and create this new skill, an improved skill of your hearing. The same with touch, right? That's why one of the things that they said, if you want to improve on this and really practice all of these sensory perceptions, what do? You you learn a new language, because that really taxes your brain and it really puts them in conditioning mode. Learn the piano because that's not easy. See, if you just learn to no, I want to learn something and watch TV. See, that's not enough. Or I want to learn something and read a book. That's not enough. See? Sensory and motor representations will reorganize based on the particular skills and needs of the person. And this is the reason why. If you want to be a champion, let's say in tennis, what do? You keep on practicing. And you practice that shot or that lob or whatever. See? But now that you know that if you want to really become good at doing something excellently, you focus all your attention to a particular shot, to a particular movement. And it is not just your hand. See? You sense it. See? You sense it, not really. When you hit a ball in tennis, for example, you don't really look at the ball. See? You've almost got that feel already. In golf, it's the same way. Okay. So, now that we know that even those who have suffered strokes and have, in the book, they have some examples where some people with damaged brains, you know what happened? They said, no, this guy cannot do those things anymore because that part of the brain has been damaged. You know what happened? What the brain did? After a while, because of practice and all that, see, that function was taken over by some other side of the brain. So what was damaged was the right side somehow, because the guy just really kept on practicing. The left side of the brain took over and carried out the function of that part of the brain that was damaged. Today, they're doing it. Those people who are into this neuroplasticity, they're changing the rules in terms of people who have suffered strokes. So, through neuroplasticity, you develop new skills. And don't worry, like I could not hit that golf ball 200 yards. See? Now I can. I'll tell you why, and I'll tell you how. Better cognition, more efficient communication between sensory and motor pathways. Half of your brain is in charge of sensory perceptions, senses. The other half is in charge of actions. See? So you have to, if you are able to coordinate that, see, and practice that. That's why when you play the piano, initially you're using your eyes. See? After a while, you don't use your eyes anymore. You can even play the piano talking to somebody else. See? Improved function of the aging brain. See? That's why I'm not aging anymore. Slowing down pathological processes, because that's what happened. After a while, see, sometimes you get excited, sometimes you get angry. Your brain will be able to handle that. Promoting recovery of sensory losses. You think you're losing your hearing, you think you're losing your touch, you cannot taste anymore, cannot smell anymore. You can improve. Improve motor control, improve memory. Okay, what happens? This is the negative outcome. This is when you just sit in front of the TV and you let that brain of yours deteriorate. There's a saying again, if you don't use it, you lose it. See? So you really have to use it. When you don't, you really have to use it. When you don't use it, that starts the decline of your brain. See? Altered motor control. Even if you know how to do something very well, if you don't continue to do that, or you don't even think of doing that, you eventually lose that. The brain, somehow, those connections break. See? And that's the reason why, after a while, you're not able to do it. There's a trick, and this is on neuroplasticity. They got two groups of people who didn't know how to learn how to play the piano. One group, they said, this is how to play the piano, but just remember it, remember how to do that, and keep on practicing that 2 hours a day for 5 days. The other group, they said, this is how to play the piano, and in your piano, this is how you do it, and you practice 2 hours a day. So you have one group who was not even touching the piano, but they were just practicing it, see, in their minds. At the end of the 5 days, who do you think was a better piano? Who could do that piano exercise? Mali. Not the group that did not play it. It was still the group that was able to play it. But that's not the discovery. The discovery is this. Remember, both of them practiced 2 hours a day for 5 days. When they tested, this group that practiced did very well. But guess what? When this group that was only imagining it practiced just for 2 hours, they practiced what they was imagining before, and they practiced for 2 hours. Guess what happened? When they played better than the guys. So you want to be a better tennis player, golfer, practice it in your mind. Practice it in your mind. We are in COVID now. You're in quarantine. Practice it in your mind. By the time you are now able to go out, you will see. Just a few times and you're back to being that great player that you are. Impaired performance of activities of daily living. Yes. See? Your life will change negatively if you do not really focus on, working on your neuroplasticity. And this is the reason why most people, they are just complaining about their pains. See, actually, it's just their brain that has given up on trying to create that idea that it's not really that bad. As a matter of fact, some have, what do they call that? Yung not, it's not really true, but they feel like they're hurting or something. Okay. So in the end, what we're saying, now that we know that really it's true, see, that by improving the sensory perceptions, not just of your eyes, but of your ears, of your taste, of your smell, and of your touch, you can really become better at what it is that you will be doing. Why? Because everything is controlled by your brain. Your breathing is controlled by your brain. The actions, the activity inside your body is controlled by your brain, right? When you move your hands, see? When you even interpret an idea, a thought, that is controlled by your brain. So if your brain is properly trained, what do you have? You develop a great growth mindset. A growth mindset is the belief that you can continue to develop new skills and abilities as well as boost your memory. And it doesn't matter whether you are young or old. Okay. May I introduce you to Dr. Norman Doidge. He is the author of The Brain That Changes Itself. And he wants to offer you a brain fully trained to get you to where you wish or want to go. Thank you. And may your brain learn. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Sir Jun. And how about that? A lot of people are applauding and thanking you, Sir Jun, for that wonderful talk. It's one of a kind, actually. And what we're, yeah, keep it coming, guys, in the chat room. Yeah, awesome. And yep, we're amazed of the value that you've shared with us, and I've personally learned a lot also. And that's a great talk. And just some reminders, though, for our viewers. It is not yet the end of our webinar. We still have a breakout room where you can meet in a while. Some of our friends, some of the people that you've spoken to or message or forward you this webinar, you will be able to unmute yourselves in the breakout room when we do that. But before that, I just wanted to give out some reminders. Uh, well, we still have career crash course series coming up. We have a lot more of them, and you will be able to learn more. And tomorrow we have an e-commerce project where we will apply neuroplasticity in real life setting. I hope you do check out that webinar tomorrow night. And at this point, I would like to have a short message from our speaker tomorrow night, who is going to give the information by background. She is actually the co-founder of Syzygy, and this this event is sponsored by Syzygy, and she is a business owner and developing a huge project, e-commerce project. It is called, the webinar is called Bouncing Forward, Opportunities in the New Normal. May I please call on our co-founder, Olive, to unmute and say a few words for us.
Yes, good evening to everybody. And I hope that you learned a lot tonight from our featured speaker. Thank you so much, Jun Malacaman. We at Syzygy do this book session every Thursday night at 8 p.m. because we are believers of neuroplasticity, that all the wisdom in the world is found in books. And if we read them or listen to book sharers and learn from the wisdom, then our minds can grow, and we are passionate about it. But we're also part of an environment where we can apply neuroplasticity and we can teach people many things about success, about life, particularly entrepreneurship at this period of pandemic. It is totally very exciting to step out of your comfort zone and learn new things. I'm a total believer of that. And we have activities every night, actually at 8 p.m., in order to grow our minds, if you will. So I'd like to invite you tomorrow so you can learn about bouncing forward, an e-commerce project that we're expanding. And the person who invited you can give you the link for that, or you can take a screenshot. I'm excited to share and teach everybody about what we're doing, because we are more excited today than when we started 2+ decades ago. And I hope to see you so you can learn more. Thank you, and back to John L.
Thank you very much, Olive, for that glimpse of what we're going to expect tomorrow. And at this point, I'd like to invite everyone to uh, uh, join when the breakout room message pops up. I hope you press join so that you can meet the smaller group or the people that invited you or gave you this webinar, so that you can meet with them and do a chit chat and unmute yourselves, your audio and your video. So with that, a pleasant evening. Oh yeah, I forgot. We are actually record again tonight. We had more than 150 viewers. So congratulations again to everyone and Sir June for that wonderful talk. So I hope you join the breakout rooms and enjoy meeting and chatting with your friends.